what you're dealing with primarily is a wet football, right?
That is going to be an issue for these teams. And last Saturday when those semifinals were occurring, it was raining pretty heavy on the west side of the state. So that's where Eatonville might be able to have a little bit of an advantage just playing a week ago.
Some of those guys might have moss between their toes. This is their living environment, being just in the western shadows of Mount Rainier. So this is a home environment for them. In terms of weather for the Knights, they'll have to fight through a little bit here.
Joby Kralik with a little pooch kick taken at about the 27-yard line by Luke Bergeson. He's brought down. Not much space there. It will be 1st and 10 for the Knights at their own 31. Here comes the Royal offense, which has been so dominant this season, on their way to a 13-0 record. They're looking to just keep that momentum rolling into another state championship. Again, looking for their 5th state title since 2015.
Knights are led by quarterback Derek Bergeson. He comes into the game with 39 passing touchdowns versus 7 interceptions. He'll have Avery Ellis running back to his right. He's going to send Jace Allred in motion from left to right.
Bergeson going to toss that one down in the flat, and a good pickup on the first play of the ball game.
That's tight end number 81, Gunnar Anderson for Royal. He plays tight end, but he's really a receiver body and can be tough to handle when he sneaks out of the line formation and out to the flats. Pick up that pass, pick up the first down, move the ball. The Knights near midfield.
That was nice footwork on that far side, staying in bounds for a pickup of 17 on the first play of the ball game for Royal. They'll go in the gun once again with Bergeson. Going to go ahead and bring Luke Bergeson in motion now over to the right side to have trips. Going to hand this one off up the gut, and running through some tackles is Avery Ellis.
Avery Ellis, not your normally sized tailback, being recruited as a linebacker at about 6'2", 230. Gets his shoulder square right up the middle. It's 2 plays, 2 first downs for the Royal Knights.
12 yards on that first carry for Ellis. Couldn't have drawn up a much better start for the Royal Knights on their first couple plays of the ball game. Nice pass play now, establishing that run game. Now they're going to have a tight trips bunch to the left side. Bergeson takes snap. He's looking to the left, going to swing this one out to Ellis just over his head. It'll be incomplete. Brings up 2nd down and 10.
2nd down, 10 yards to go.
Like the play formation, as the Cruisers were creeping guys up to the line of scrimmage, especially with that bunch formation that Royal was in, trying to make sure that they had enough guys in the box. Royal trying to get that ball outside to the flats to Ellis out of the backfield.
Tried to sneak Ellis out there, and just a little too high on that throw. Once again, going to motion man out to his right. Bergeson going to hand this one off to Ellis again. Ellis breaks a tackle. Ellis is across the 30. Stiff arms another Cruiser defender still on his feet, and finally he's dragged out of bounds. Not going to be denied. A good gain there. It looks like they're going to give him 15 and another fresh set of downs for the Knights.
Doesn't surprise me that this is the formula Royal wants to start with, is trying to establish the run here against the Cruisers. And if you're going to tackle Ellis, you better be square and you better be sure.
Threw a couple of stiff arms out there. Not going to be able to arm tackle the big back. He is once again to Bergeson's left. This time Bergeson going to keep it. He's going to follow Ellis. Gets a nice block. Going to lower his shoulder and take a shot. But he's inside the 20. They're going to mark him out at the 16-yard line. A pickup of 9.
Number 5, Justice Roust, is the safety that comes up and drives him out of bounds as he was trying to tiptoe that sideline and stay in bounds.
Rouse not going to shy away from contact. He is a very physical safety. It is 2nd down and 1 for the Knights.
Boy, that's an open playbook. 2nd down and 1.
And they're going to back him up 5. It looked like the receiver on the far side jumped.
Well, 2nd and 1 turns to 2nd and 6 and pushes the Knights out of the red zone.
There's Edgar De La Rosa on that far side. Nothing drives a coach crazier than having a receiver move first.
We'll see if that changes the play call for the Knights or what Coach Wiley Allred decides to do. Derek Bergeson gets the call from Coach Allred.
Whatever Coach Allred decides, you got to feel awfully confident in. He's been here, done that. Two receivers out to the right. Going to motion Allred out there as well for trips. Going to give this one to Ellis up the middle. Ellis has a big gap. There goes Ellis. He's going to drag a defender. Touchdown, Royal.
That's Roust again, the safety, comes up to make the stop. And Ellis with the leg drive carries him into the end zone. Knights get the early score. Just 2 minutes and 9 seconds into this contest.
21-yard rushing touchdown there for Avery Ellis. And he wasn't contacted until he was about 5 to 10 yards downfield.
Yeah.
That'll be Angel Vega on to attempt the extra point. That kick is up. Looks good, and it is good. So Royal, a great opening drive, just taking 2 minutes and 9 seconds to put that ball in the end zone. They lead 7-0 here on the Eli and NFHS Sports Networks.
Proactive physical therapy, feeling good.
Jump on top early, 7-0 again, just 2 minutes and 9 seconds. And that penalty, the one lone mistake for the Royal Knights, doesn't cost them at all on that opening drive.
No, effective running through a couple passes, but most by and large an effective running drive for the Knights. And Roust is a good physical safety, but when he's making the tackles on running plays, the coaching staff, Coach Kralik and his guys are going to try to tune that up a little bit. They'll get a chance to try to draw even here with their offense.
That kick's going to be taken at about the 8-yard line. Trying to find some running space, gets out across the 25. That looked to be number.
Is that 9, Jacob Luck?
I believe that was.
Oh, number 26, Dylan Norman. He's a sophomore. He's their starting tailback, getting the kick return.
Not used to seeing him back on kick returns. Here comes the Cruiser offense. They're also going to line up in the gun with Kevin Wolf. Wolf's going to keep this one, try and run it up the middle. He spins out of the tackle, keeps those legs driving, and gets some help from his offensive line. Turns a little into a solid first down gain to about the 35-yard line is where they'll mark him down.
Close to the forward progress being stopped, but he's able to shake free and fall forward. Look like for the Knights, Dylan Allred and Derek Bergeson, the middle linebackers, combined on that stop. Bring up 2nd down and 3.
Pick up a 7 on first down. There's a handoff right up the middle. Falling forward is Dylan Norman. Looks like he's going to be just about a yard short. Needed 3, got 2. It's 3rd down and 1.
There's no doubt the Cruisers want to establish the run here to set up a more broad, balanced offense as the game goes on.
They're looking to go quick. Running and taking that direct snap under center is Kevin Wolf. I don't think he got it.
I think he stopped short. In fact, he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. We'll see where they mark that. One thing we'll watch about the Cruisers is they'll change formations quite a bit pre-snap and force the defense to try to make those adjustments without time to think. Looks like we're going to have Wolf under center here, potentially going to go for it.
The defensive line of Royal didn't move with all that movement. They stayed right in their lane and come up with a big stop, and it does look like the Cruisers will go for it. No, it'll be a quick little punt from Wolf.
Nobody back for the Knights. They weren't going to take any chances. So however long this punt is where the ball will be down. It's going to be just outside the 20-yard line for the Knights as they'll take over for their second offensive possession.
1st and 10 at the 21 for the Royal Knights.
Yeah, just a quick punt there. I'm not sure if Wolf is the normal punter. Is that listed for us?
It
no,
is
normally
not
it's Joe,
the normal punter.
Joe Kralik.
Yeah. Just have Wolf back there to punt that one away just so Royal didn't have a returner. No sense in allowing Royal to get a nice return. They are going to have to go 79 yards to get a score. It doesn't look like that would have stopped them on their first drive. A great opening drive for the Royal Knights, and then the defense with a quick 3 and out forced as well. There's Ellis getting the carry up the middle. He's going to fight his way forward to about the 26-yard line. He's going to pick up about 5. They're going to give him 6. So 2nd down and 4 after a nice pickup by Avery Ellis once again.
2nd down, 5 yards to go.
You know, one of the things with Royal in a high-scoring offense in a game like this is to be patient. 6 yards on 1st down, that's great.
They're having little trouble moving the football right now. Trips out to the left. Going to give this one to Ellis again. He's going to bounce it to the outside. And Ellis, not shying away from contact, lowers his shoulder and drags the defender to the 41. There's a pickup of 15.
Great run for Ellis. Keeps that ball high and tight. He's going to have to continue to do that all day, partly because of the tenaciousness of the Eatonville defense, but also because of the weather. But able to square up there and drive forward after contact to pick up another 4 or 5 acres. That's
when the Cruisers are on offense,
yeah,
I think.
that's when they're on offense, right?
1st and 10 for the Royal Knights.
Eatonville creeping up some pressure.
Bergeson, a quick little button hook out there to Luke Bergeson, who's going to handle it and be knocked out of bounds. They're going to get the 1st. Going to get about 12 yards there, and so far no hiccups for this Knights offense. The false start didn't even hurt them on their first drive. This offense is rolling right now.
Right now it looks like the Knights passing game, they're trying to take advantage of some aggressiveness by the Cruisers defense, throw some quick outs, try to get the ball into open spaces with some playmakers.
1st and 10. Going to keep it this time is Bergeson. He's going to bounce to the outside. He's going to be wrapped up and brought down. Gets about 3 on that carry.
13, Walker Brune comes up and makes that tackle. Great open field tackle. Bergeson not easy to bring down. Going to limit him to a 3-yard gain.
Now this Eatonville Cruiser defense wants to get stops. They're going to have to be physical. You're seeing both Bergeson and Ellis not shy away from contact. They're looking forward to getting hit and trying to run over a defender themselves. 2nd and 7. Bergeson in the gun again. Ellis to the left. 2 receivers to his right. There's a quick little screen here on the near side, and making that catch is Edgar De La Rosa. And these quick little hits for the Knights working wonders right now.
It's Brune and number 25, Grant, that combine on that stop. De La Rosa, typically a deep ball threat for the Knights. He's about 6'3", 6'4", with a long radius of catch, but that time using him in the screen game and to the short side of the field, but able to pick up enough yards for the 1st down.
13 yards on that one, and so far Royal has not had to take shots downfield. They're just taking what the defense is giving them. It's working out. There's another screen on that far side, and that one sails high. Taking a shot out there is Luke Bergeson.
Yeah, Wicker coming up from a safety or defensive back position and getting to Bergeson quick, being able to put a hit on him, knock him to his backside. Incomplete pass, sails over the head of Luke Bergeson.
That was fortunate for Royal that Wicker wasn't looking at the ball. He was going for the hit. That could have definitely been a pick 6 back the other way. That ball was a little high. It is 2nd down and 10, though, for Royal. There's the fake to Ellis, and Bergeson again going to run it up the middle. And again, Eatonville not allowing him to beat them on the ground as well. Forward progress is going to give him a couple.
Yeah, number 30, Zach Barnett, in on that stop, along with a few other Cruisers.
3rd down, 8 yards to go.
For the first time, the Knights facing a 3rd down in this early stages of this ball game.
This play is critical for the Cruisers' defense to see if they can get the Knights' offense off the field. If they give up 2 quick scores early, we'll see what that does to them mentally. So they know they got to stand up on this play.
Bergeson going to roll out to his right, trying to find something downfield, just going to throw it into the turf. Incomplete, and the Eatonville sideline calling for an intentional grounding.
Number 22, Avery Ellis, was within 2 yards of where the ball hit the ground. So I know they want to say that, but they're not going to get that call, that's for sure.
They are going to get that call.
They've got to retalk that, too, because Ellis was right there as a legal receiver, right near where the ball went to the ground.
And Ellis is over there pleading his case to the officials.
Yeah, and I think he's got a case to plead there.
And all the officials getting together.
Good idea.
We'll see if they pick up the flag or not.
To me, the only debate was whether he was potentially an ineligible receiver, but out of the backfield. I'm not sure that's the case.
They are going to get the call. Intentional grounding on the Knights.
Wow. I'm not quite sure how that happens. When they go back and watch that film, they'll wonder why they made that call as well. Is going to push the Knights back. It's from the spot of the throw, actually, and so it's not just a 5-yard penalty. It's a sizable penalty against the Knights in that situation. And I was going to say that it's 4-down territory for the Knights when they had the ball up inside the 30-yard line, but now a 18-yard penalty is going to drive them back into punt formation.
It is also a loss of down. So, yeah, 4th down and about an incomplete pass. You got to think Royal's going to go ahead and go for it there. But in this situation now, they're just going to try and pin the Cruisers back.
Be number 7, Edgar De La Rosa, in punt formation for the Knights.
Riley McElraith back to return the punt.
Line drive punt. McElraith's going to pick it up on the hop. No, he's going to let it go. It's going to go into the end zone. A couple Knights breathing down his neck, so probably a good decision to let that go. Eric Myrick, number 24 for the Knights, down on coverage. So Eatonville will have their second offensive possession from their own 20-yard line after the touchback on the punt. And they like to go fast, so expect them to be in a hurry.
The tempo of the Eatonville offense was on display on their first drive. It was a 3-and-out, but they were still going quick on those plays.
Trying to wear that defensive front out for the Knights, especially the guys that go two ways.
Wolf going to motion Jake Wood to the other side of the formation. Back to pass, going to take a shot deep downfield, looking for a home run here, and that's going to fall incomplete. Good defense. He was looking for Job Kralik.
Yeah, Job Kralik looked like he had half a step. The ball hung in the air a little bit. Luke Bergeson, the cornerback, right there with him. Gunnar Anderson, the safety, coming over to help out. They're running a play before the Knights are even back to the line of scrimmage, but the Knights front is happy to make that stop and give them a 3rd down and long. Not quite sure why they put the ball in play quite so quickly.
Kralik wasn't even off the field from the last play. That definitely should have been 12 men on the field.
Yeah, the Royal Knights sideline really chirping about that, trying to make sure that the officials know when Eatonville goes quick that they still got to follow all the rules.
It is 3rd down and long, and a flag flies from 3 different officials. It'll be a false start on the Cruisers, so that backs them up. It's 3rd and 15 now for Eatonville. This is not a good drive for the Cruisers, not what they were hoping for after getting that big stop on a 3rd down against the Knights.
Both teams have quick play ability, long play, quick play ability, but this is certainly not the scenario that the Cruisers want to put themselves in.
Wolf will be in the gun, and, of course, they'll spread everything out. 3 receivers out wide to his right, 2 to the left. Wolf back to pass, going to run a quick screen. That's going to fall incomplete, and this Royal Knights defense just dominating at the point of attack.
Eric Myrick and Gunnar Anderson for the Knights were in the backfield on that quick pass. Best thing could happen for the Cruisers in that case is that it ends up incomplete. That's twice. Both teams have had a chance where the defense potentially was in position to make a pick and a long play, and the offenses have survived. Eatonville survives to punt.
And that was Wolf punting again. This one's going to hop right near midfield. Kralik is actually getting checked out under the tent, it looks like, over there. It looks like on his long pass attempt, he came up a little gimpy.
It'll be good field position for the Knights. In fact, they're going to spot it almost exactly on the 50-yard line. So they'll just have half the field to navigate here if they want to go up by 2 scores. Knights' first drive, they carved up the Eatonville Cruiser defense. Second drive, the Cruisers held up, and an intentional grounding penalty helped them out. 3rd time around here for the Knights offense.
The 1st and 10 from midfield. Bergeson going to just hand it off to Ellis. Ellis bottled up, and that's the best this Cruiser defense has done at stopping Avery Ellis. He might have got a yard. No, they're going to say it's about
football length is about what he got.
Shut down immediately, so it's going to be 2nd down and 10. 3:30 to go here in the opening quarter. Again, Royals scoring on their opening drive, taking the early 7-0 lead in Eatonville. Yet to pick up a 1st down on offense. Bergeson in the gun again. Fakes the handoff to Ellis, rolling to his left. Looking to throw it back across the body, avoids a sack, floats this one up, and diving to make the play.
They're going to say he was in bounds. That's a completed pass for a gain of about 6 or 7.
That was Gunnar Anderson. That was just turned into some backyard football there. Pick up a 7.
Bergeson to be able to avoid the first wave of that oncoming rush by the Cruisers, work his way out to the sideline, and just toss that over the top of a few heads there of the Cruisers to get the ball to Anderson.
And that was the difference maker, is him avoiding that first wave of pressure. It looked like that was going to be a big play for Eatonville. Instead, it turns into a nice gain for Royal.
7 men in the box for the Cruisers.
Bergeson just going to tuck it, and he's upended short.
Number 20, Antonio Acareno on the stop. It's going to be a minimal gain, if any.
About another gain of a football length.
So here's the question. Is this a situation where the Knights are going to go for it? The answer to that question is 100% absolutely.
We'll see if they give this one to Ellis. Ellis has been really the force of this offense thus far. They're going to tighten everyone in. They're going to give it to Ellis. Ellis wrapped up. He's short.
Yeah, he's going to be short by about a yard. He had to get past the 40. They're going to mark him at about the 41.
We've got an injured Knight on the field.
That's the center for the Knights. Number 68, Benji Guadarrama, comes up a little bit hobbled, but he gets to go off the field and figure life out a little bit as the defense will come onto the field for the Knights.
He did a little jog, so it doesn't look like anything extremely serious, which is a good sign, as Eatonville immediately already set to go and getting the ball and getting hammered immediately is Dylan Norman. He's going to lose a couple. This Royal defensive front is just dominating this ball game.
Linebackers Dylan Allred, Derek Burgess for the Knights combined on that stop for a short loss. Wolf with the quick snap, wanting to go fast. They're going to pick up a little bit, maybe 3, maybe 4 yards here, bring up still third down and about 6 or 7.
They're going to give him about 5 on that pickup, and it will be third down and 7. And Wolf again going to spread it out, and again, this
the only thing that slows them down is making a substitution here.
This Eatonville offense maybe going a little too quick. As Royals lined up still well before the Cruisers are. Now they'll tighten things up. Bring a man in motion, going to fake the sweep. Wolf going to take it himself up the middle. He's going to have Eatonville's first down of this ball game. Gets about 10. And again, we have this time an injured Cruiser on the field, and I believe that's Dylan Norman.
That's number 26, Dylan Norman. He's a starting tailback. They can ill afford to have him injured. He's not very big, and he's just a sophomore. That means he must be fast. And he
very quick and shifty. Hopefully he's all right. He's hops off the field. Wasn't putting much weight on that ankle. So first down and 10 is the good news for the Cruisers. The bad news is Norman off the field for now. Wolf a little pump fake on a screen, going to keep it himself up the middle. And again, a nice gain there for the Cruisers to about the 38-yard line.
Well-designed play. Derek Bergeson, the linebacker, makes the stop. But second down and short now here for the Cruisers as they're starting to establish themselves offensively for the first time in the contest. Just under a minute left in the first quarter.
Pickup of 8, and Wolf's going to take a shot now on the left side of the field. Good defense again, but going up, no, bobbled. And it's going to be incomplete. Almost an incredible play there.
Was that McElwraith? I believe it was number 2, McElwraith. Jace Allred on the coverage. The ball bounced around. It was actually Gunnar Anderson, the safety, that came over and ultimately knocked it away as McElwraith was trying to retain that ball, catch it before he went out of bounds.
I believe that was number 9.
Was it 9, Jacob Luck?
It was Luck. Taking it as Wolf here, trying to find space for a first down. He is swallowed up at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 4th down and 2, and no question here that the Eatonville Cruisers are going to go for it.
His offensive line tries to get behind him and push him forward, but the officials had already said that his forward progress had stopped. At no gain, 4th down and 2 here for the Eatonville Cruisers. Both of these offenses unafraid to go for it on 4th down.
And Zach Barnett into the ball game in the backfield, 250 pounds there. That's more of the tailback you want in this sort of situation. Wolf goes under center.
Ball's on the ground. It's going to be a
Lost.
penalty. We'll see if it's a pre-snap penalty. If it's a pre-snap penalty, the Knights won't have a choice of whether or not they decline it.
It's going to be a false start, and that play was just disaster from the start. I don't know what.
Best thing that could have happened is them to have a false start on that play because the ball went to the ground and they were not going to pick up the first down. Now they're going to have a little bit tougher decision here. 4th down and long 6.
That will bring us to the end of the opening quarter. Chip Morris and Jeff help for this production. We appreciate you guys spending your Saturday afternoon. Almost forgot what day it was there.
We'll open this second quarter with the Cruisers facing 4th down and 6 from the Royal Knight 42-yard line. Look like they may go for it here.
And whistles again. And
what do we got? Are we afraid that the ball wasn't spotted correctly?
it looked like the ball was spotted about a yard ahead of where it should have been.
The side judge is going to come move the ball backward at least 2 football lengths, make it even more imposing for the Cruisers. And they're going to quick punt.
A quick punt, and this one's going to check up and take more of a Royal bounce, but still not ideal for the Knights as they're going to start with the ball at about the 14-yard line. And a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Eatonville. Had that 4th and short and just rushing the play again a little too much. You're seeing maybe the nerves of the Cruisers coming into play a little bit here.
Yeah, because this isn't foreign to them. This is what they've done all year, but they haven't done it on this stage. And so you wonder a little bit about that. I'm sure Coach Kralik will tighten things up with his guys, and they'll get that figured out. But right now, the Cruiser defense has to figure out how to put a stop to this Royal offense.
1st and 10 for the Knights. Going to put a man in motion is Derek Bergeson. Going to fake the handoff to Ellis. Going to swing this one out, and it's going to be a little too far out in front of his intended receiver. I believe that was Anderson again.
Yeah, 81, Gunnar Anderson from his tight end position, just trying to get outside and get the ball into open space, as it looked like Hanley for the Cruisers was creeping up to the line, bring some extra pressure. I like the play call. The execution, not exactly what Coach Allred would hope for his offensive squad.
2nd and 10, and now the Knights going to spread things out a little bit. 3 receivers out to the left, 2 to the right. Bergeson going to take the snap, has time in the pocket, dumps this one off to Ellis. Avery Ellis going to lower his shoulder, and it's going to have the first down.
Runs through that tackle, but steps out of bounds in the process.
Take the 15 yards, though, and it's a fresh set of downs for the Knights at about the 29-yard line.
Avery Ellis, great hands for his size out of the backfield. And he's been able to show that on a couple plays here for Royals offense.
No one playing quite as well out there as Avery Ellis in this early going. Back to pass to Bergeson, going to sling this one out, and this time hauling it in is Anderson. Hit immediately. We'll see where they spot it. It looks like it's going to be a little bit short. About a 9-yard pickup, brings up 2nd and 1.
Give credit to the offensive line of the Knights there on that play, doing a good job holding out the Cruisers' defensive front and giving Bergeson plenty of time to find his man.
Bergeson only really being pressured when he rolls out of the pocket. Other than that, like you said, this offensive line doing a nice job keeping that pocket clean. Now Ellis going to join Bergeson to his left. Fakes the handoff there, throws a quick little slant. That one hauled in. That's going to be enough for a first down. That's Jace Allred. But a flag.
We have a flag down
on the far sideline.
Right after the snap. We'll see if that could have been, well, we'll wait and see.
Just going to be a sideline warning, so it'll stand as a 14-yard pickup for Jace Allred.
Yeah, won't affect the play. Only thing it affects is if there's another sideline call against the Cruisers, that'll be a penalty that'll be marched off against them. So no harm, no foul this time around. The Knights do get the first down, move into Cruiser territory. A little quick pass up the seam to Jace Allred. Really trying to keep the Cruiser defense off balance here, keep them guessing.
This is the most we've seen Royal throw on a drive, and so far it is working out into Eatonville territory. Bergerson in the gun again with Ellis. Fakes the handoff to Ellis, going to take a shot downfield on a wheel route. He's got his man hauling that one in is Luke Bergerson down the sideline inside the 10-yard line.
You know, on that route, if the receiver gets even with the defender, he's essentially got him beat. And Derek Bergerson does a great job throwing his brother open, putting the ball in the right spot, allowing him to catch that ball and work his way down to the 10-yard line into the red zone, first down and goal for the Royal Knights.
38 yards on that pass play. The longest play of the game for either side thus far, and it is first down and goal for the Knights. Bergerson, the keeper up the middle, sidesteps a defender. He's going to be hit fighting forward. It looks like he's going to be stacked up just short of the goal line. Got about 9.5 on that carry.
It's going to bring up second down and very short for the Knights.
Now they're looking to go quick, going under center now. There's Ellis up the middle. He's in. No problem. Touchdown, Royal.
So you're right. More passing on that drive for the Knights, starting to open things up a little bit, finish it off with a couple good runs once they got inside the red zone.
The long pass play from Derek Bergerson to Luke Bergerson, setting that touchdown up. The extra point is up. And no good.
Wow.
So pulls it a little bit left, but 6 will do for the Royal Knights. They lead this one 13-0 here at Harry Lang Stadium. Really having a lot of success on offense. That drive, 89 yards.
Early here in the second quarter, the Knights jump out to a 13-0 lead. Missed extra point for the Knights by Angel Vega. He's been really accurate all year long. We'll see if that's something that comes back to be a factor in the game, because I don't think anybody at this point thinks that you can score enough touchdowns in this game to feel comfortable.
That is an understatement. Both these offenses have been so explosive all year long. That kick a little short, taken at about the 20, or excuse me, that's about at the 18 and fighting to about the 30.
Now that's McElraith on the short kick. He'll work out to the 30-yard line.
A couple of score updates for you in our other state championship games. The 3A Bellevue and Kennewick scoreless at the end of the first quarter. Meanwhile, Elmira Cooley Heartline leading 14-0 in the 1B state championship after the opening quarter.
That Kennewick and Bellevue game, that's another one I think it should be circled. That's going to be a great game.
Wolf back to pass. He's got time. Floats one up. Too high. Nearly intercepted.
Looking for number 15, Job Kralik, and his counterpart, number 15, Elijah Jinks for the Knights, almost catches that sailing pass that went over the top of Kralik's head.
And Jinks probably would have been in better position to intercept that if he wouldn't have been so well positioned on defense. It will bring up second down and 10. There's the handoff.
We'll see, is that Norman or if they had somebody else come in for him. Remember, he hobbled off. 22, Caden Olson has replaced Norman. So let's keep an eye on that to see if Norman's out for the long term or they're just trying to go with Olson here to mix things up a little bit.
Third down and 7, flags flying. It was the far receiver, I believe, moved first. It'll be a false start, and that backs up the Cruisers again. Again, this up-tempo offense just not working out for Eatonville.
So far, it's done more harm than good. Put them behind the sticks a few times. And now it's going to be a third down and a long 12 after that 5-yard penalty.
And this secondary of Royal is not creating too many opportunities through the air for Kevin Wolf. It's going to be a third down and 12 for the Cruisers. They're going to shift the strong side over to the right. Wolf going to roll out to his right. He's got time this time. Going to float one deep. That one
intercepted.
Well underthrown and picked off. Oh, like Gunnar Anderson out there with the interception.
And number 81, Gunnar Anderson with the interception. That's his 4th or 5th of the season. Has an opportunity to play a little bit of center field back there as the safety, and reads that ball, gets to it, and gives the Knights another offensive possession here early in the second quarter.
They'll start with the ball at their own 42, and that ball was well underthrown. And so far, this Eatonville offense just not able to get any momentum going. First down and 10. That one dropped on the snap, and they're going to whistle it down. His knee was down when he picked that ball back up. It's going to be a loss of about 4.
Yeah, tough because you want to make sure you secure that ball.
Unknown caller.
But then you run the risk of touching your knee on the ground. Short loss there for the Knights after that mishap.
And coaches would much rather just dive on top of that
Right.
ball, cover it up. We'll live to fight another day. Second and long, it'll be officially second and 13.
7 in the box for the Cruisers.
Ferguson going to swing this one out to Ellis. Ellis makes a man miss in the open field. Now going to be upended at about the 49-yard line. They're going to say he got to the 50. And there's a pickup of 11.
Well, when
That's
Ellis
gonna
gets
bring
the
up
ball in
third
open
and short.
space, it doesn't look like he's avoiding anybody.
No.
It looks like he's seeking out contact, able to break the first tackle there on a bit of a flyby by the Cruiser defender. And he squares up and picks up 10 yards to come up with a third and manageable here for the Knights. Ball on the 50-yard line. Derek Bergeson's getting the play call off the sideline from Coach Allred. They'll be in and out of the huddle pretty quick.
Third down and 2 from midfield.
Bergeson and Ellis making sure they're on the same page here pre-snap.
Ferguson going to go under center. Hands this one off to Ellis. Ellis bounces it to the outside. He's going to fight forward. He's got the first down and more. Falls across to about the 43-yard line.
Yeah, needed 2. He's going to get 6.
And we'll mark him at the 44, but it is a fresh set of downs for the Knights into Eatonville territory. And those short yardage situations for the Knights thus far, it is just give the ball to Avery Ellis, and it is working perfectly.
Hey, I'm no coach, but that's what I would do too.
First down and 10. Back to pass Bergeson. He's going to take a shot up the left side. Good defense coming around the Royal sideline wanting a flag. That was borderline. Could have gone either way. No flag.
Intended receiver number 7, Edgar De La Rosa. He feels like contact came early. You may have to have a stop motion camera frame by frame to pick that up. So difficult one for the officials. All in all, if they're going to call less penalties than more, you know, you got to live with those sometimes.
There's McElraith. I think if maybe he didn't get a hand on that ball, they might have drawn the flag, but he does get a hand on it to knock it down. Brings up second down and 10. The fake to Ellis. Bergeson going to take himself up the middle. He's got plenty of space. Running through the secondary, still on his feet. There goes Bergeson inside the 5. Touchdown Royal. 44 yards for Derek Bergeson.
Cruisers had some guys in position, but not able to wrap him up. Just not tackling sure enough on Derek Bergeson as a quarterback. A little bit of a slight frame, but if you see him in the weight room, you'd know that you better wrap him up as he runs through some tackles there, breaks out to the left-hand side, and just beats the last guy into the end zone.
The arm tackles are not going to work against anyone, it seems like, on this Royal Knights squad. The extra point attempt, the kick is up. This one looks good, and it is. So 20-0. The Royal Knights have jumped out early here on the Eli and NFHS Sports Networks.
The opioid crisis.
And that's the most critical 7 minutes and 20 seconds of Eatonville's season, absolutely, as they try to figure out how to get something offensive going. The Knights have accomplished on defense what I think they were hoping to do, which is try to make the Cruisers one-dimensional and take away that running game.
That kick taken by the Cruisers, trying to find some space, running through a couple of Royal tacklers.
That's Job Kralik. Gunnar Anderson, number 81, brings him down eventually, but a good return and decent field position here for the Cruisers. as they've gone down 3 scores to the Royal Knights. That's the offense really has to put together, find some rhythm.
And Dylan Norman is back in the ball game.
Okay.
At tailback for the Cruisers. He is the deep back there. He'll get the carry here, and he's going to try and run through.
Derek Bergeson, the linebacker, the first Knight to him, but Norman continues the leg drive to pick up some yards. He's coming up a little hobbled. He's going to stay in, so probably not 100%, but a lot of heart wanting to stay out on that field, and obviously the coaches believe in him and believe in his abilities.
About a 3-yard pickup there.
That was a slow play, a bit of almost like a draw style play.
This time Wolf going to keep it. He's going to run through some of his own blockers. He's going to fight forward. He's going to come up just short. Looks like he got about 5.
Give credit to Julian Evans, number 70, the center, with a good lead block or leg drive, paving the way for Wolf to pick up what he did.
3rd down and about a yard to go.
22 Olsen now into the game at tailback behind Wolf instead of Norman.
Norman definitely wasn't feeling 100% after his first carry back in. Wolf back to pass. He's got all day to throw. Finally throws one, and that one is well high of his intended receiver. And Wolf is just a little bit off here in the first half.
He had time. His offensive line was giving him time. He threw it over the top of Krolick's head and into a triangle of black jerseys.
1 yard to go.
It's going to be 4th and a yard, and we'll see what the Cruisers decide to do here.
In this situation so far, they've done some quick kicks, but to be honest with you, down 3 scores, maybe they're going to go for it here. Maybe this drive is important enough for them to take the risk here at 4th and 1. They're going to bring in the heavy package.
Wolf going to run a toss to the outside. Plowing his way forward and picking up the first down there is Caden Olsen. Got through that initial contact and left no doubt that he was picking up that first.
Yeah, Olsen a little bit thicker body than Norman and does a good job dragging a guy. Derek Bergeson brings him down, but the ball gets to midfield and the first down. Clock rolling, just under 5 minutes and 50 seconds left until halftime. And the Cruisers know that they've got to put something on the board here.
And remember, the Cruisers do get the ball to start the second half, so if they can time this drive up right, leave Royal with minimal time, they could end up cutting this to a 1-score game to start the second half. As a little wide receiver end around, so far nothing, and now finally being dragged down there. Looks like that was Austin Wicker.
Yeah, that was meant to be a double reverse, probably with a pass associated with it, but the Knights were in the backfield too quick, and he had to hold on to it. Eric Meyer, 24, ultimately breaks the tackle. And it's going to bring 2nd down and 18 here for the Cruisers.
Loss 8. They're right back to where they snapped the ball in that 4th and short. Now motioning a man back and forth. Now they'll look over to the sideline.
Yeah, a little bit of check with me offense going on right now for the Cruisers.
Wolf, little fake. Now he's going to run a draw, powering his way forward to about the 48 for a pickup of 6. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long.
Kyle Cox, number 77, the left tackle out there pushing bodies, allowing him to pick up, what did he pick up, 6 yards, 7 yards on that?
6 yards brings up a 3rd down and 12. And I like in the short yardage situation mainly that Wolf QB draw. It seems to open up.
That's not a short yardage down right there.
Right. But I'm saying that I'm looking for them to run that in the short yardage downs, not necessarily here.
Sure.
It is 3rd down and 12. Wolf takes a snap, and there is movement early, and that's going to back him up 5 more. Make that 3rd down and 17 for the Cruisers. They can't seem to get out of their own way here on this drive.
I would imagine whatever they had called for 3rd and 12 will probably work for 3rd and 17.
17 yards to go.
And really on this play, you got to at least get the ball into Royal territory and then maybe start thinking about going for it.
Yeah, they need to pick up probably 2/3 of what they need on this play. Not such a quick pace now for the Cruisers as they're trying to be very deliberate on the play call, looking at the defensive formation of the Knights.
Wolf looking to the left. He's going to take a shot downfield again, trying to adjust and make the play over there.
That was Jacob Luck, the intended receiver, number 9. Jace Allred again on his hip. perfect. That's teach tape coverage right there by Jace Allred. And it's going to bring up 4th down and 18, 17 yards. Looks like we're going to have the legit punt team in for the Cruisers.
And now bad news is you got plenty of time if you're Royal to try and get one more score in this one. 3:40 with all 3 timeouts. Eatonville having trouble getting substitutions in. And now they're finally set. A high snap over the punter's head. That ball's still loose.
That's a touchdown.
It's going to be scooped up and scored by Avery Ellis.
Well, you said they would have enough time to score, and they didn't need an offensive play. I don't know if the weather, the wet ball had any impact on that, but the snap definitely went over the punter's head. As he tried to scoop it up instead of fall on it, Avery Ellis chases him down, stalks him down to about the 5-yard line, picks up the ball, and just takes 3 steps into the end zone for the Knights.
Disaster for the Cruisers.
The Knights had a similar situation that happened to them in their last state championship game against Linden Christian.
Royal enjoying this one a little bit more than they enjoyed that first half against Linden Christian in 2019, as that kick is up and good. 27-0, the Royal Knights pouring it on the Eatonville Cruisers here at Harry Lang Stadium on the Eli and NFHS Sports Networks.
His hands 3 times crossing the goal line for the Knights with a 21-yard run to open things up, 1-yard run early in the second quarter, and then after a 44-yard run by Derek Bergeson, Avery Ellis picks up that long snap over the punter's head and walks it into the end zone to give this Knights this 27-0 lead. We talked about 7 minutes and 20 seconds being critical. Now we're down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds for the Cruisers here before the halftime break. Things more imperative than ever.
Got to find points here before the end of the half. And that kick coverage of the Royal Knights coming up with a big play here, getting everyone fired up. And a flag going to fly in.
Gage Jinks and Caleb Hernandez for the Knights make that stop like a stone wall, stop the progress at about the 25-yard line.
This is going to be a penalty on the Cruisers.
Yeah, there was some action about 10 yards, 15 yards beyond the tackle, and just some frustrations by the Cruisers. Of course, you know, with the officials, you don't ever know if it was the first guy, second guy, who got caught. But definitely it's going to go against the Cruisers. And that is a post-play penalty. So where are they going to put the sticks? Okay. No, 1st and 10 or 1st and 25?
It should be 1st and 10. I think they're going to have to talk this over, are the officials. It should be 1st down and 10.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They were going to mark it at 1st and 25.
That's where the chains were. Now they have it right. 1st down and 10 from their own 13-yard line. The center, Julian Evans, trying to fire up the Cruisers, trying to get everyone to keep their composure. Wolf going to go under center, going to turn and hand this ball off, and fighting through a tackle there across the 35 in a big-time play.
That's number 6, Blaine Hanley, primarily known as the leading tackler for the Cruisers, but getting a chance in the backfield there, picks up a 1st down and a little life to the crowd over there on the Cruiser sideline.
Pickup of about 24 there, and there's a turn and a handoff. This one looks like Olsen fighting to about the 44. That's a pickup of 6, and the Cruisers
Ball's
going
on the ground.
real quick.
I think Wolf gets it. Eric Myrick there for the Knights. A little bit of hand fighting, but Wolf's able to pick it up, and he's wanting to swap balls out, trying to tell the sideline, hey, that's a wet ball. We're trying to go fast, but I got a wet ball here.
Will be 3rd down and about 6 yards to go for the Cruisers. Wolf back to pass, was looking for the screen. There was nothing there, and he is swarmed by Royal Knights defenders.
Yeah, Eddie Jimenez, number 56, defensive tackle, undersized but incredibly quick. gets in the backfield along with Denton Jinks. They bring him down. He went to throw that little screen to the left, and there were more black jerseys in the area than white jerseys. He thought better of it, but it's going to be a tackle for a loss, a sack.
4th and 9, and they're going to fake punt. No, now they will punt it away. I
think he was afraid he was going to kick it into the back of his fullback, so he had to wait till that cleared. Luckily, he had time at least to get the kickoff. After all, Wolf had more quick kicks than the punter. In fact, the last time the punter in full punt formation, it went over his head. So we may see quick kicks from here on out for the rest of the game for the Cruisers. And Knights are going to have the ball back with 2 minutes left until the halftime break, and they've got all 3 of their timeouts.
2-minute drill coming up as 2 minutes exactly on the clock here in the first half. If Royal can get another score and make this one at worst 33-0, the Eatonville Cruisers will have a very tall task in front of them. Rolling to the right is Bergeson, trying to find something. He's going to cross the line, and he's got a lot of green in front of him. Going to step out of bounds as well at about the 45-yard line, a pickup of 25, and there's a good start.
Yeah, following the lead block at number 22, Avery Ellis. Also give credit, downfield receiver blocking was excellent as well. Luke Bergeson and number 82, Jace Allred, able to hold their guys up and allow Bergeson Derek to get down that sideline all the way out to the 45-yard line.
First down and 10 for the Knights from their own 45.
He did get out of bounds. Clock stopped, 1:51.
Bergeson with trips out to his left, going to look that way, throw a quick slant to Anderson.
It's actually Allred, 82, out of the slot. Catches that ball coming across the middle.
It's going to be 15 yards on that pickup. So far, everything working on this drive again for the Royal Knights. They can do no wrong, it seems, on offense. Again, one drive killed on the intentional grounding call.
Play calling's been really good. I'm not sure what they saw on film as far as the Cruisers' formation on defense that they're taking advantage of. Gunnar Anderson.
Right through the hands of Anderson.
Drops a touchdown. Almost certainly would have been a touchdown as he was beyond the defense by a couple yards. Coverage, number 20, Acareno. That's a linebacker trying to cover that tight end, but that tight end is a receiver playing tight end, not a traditional tight end body. And I think the Knights will put that one in their back pocket and think about using that one a little bit later on when the opportunity arises. As it is, falls to the ground, 2nd down and 10 now for the Knights.
A great ball there from Bergeson as well. Put just enough air under it. Going to fake the handoff. He's going to keep it himself. Trying to find some space. He's going to be wrapped up and going to take a shot. Got a couple, but it's going to bring up 3rd down and about 8.
Yeah, Luckton Acareno.
And a flag comes in late.
That one may be against Royal. Luck, I was just going to say good sportsmanship by Luck helping Bergeson up after the tackle.
In the trenches, though.
But, yeah,
as much
things are
love.
heated. Things are heated along that front.
We'll go against the Knights. So it's going to be 3rd and real long now as it was after the play, so it is still going to be 3rd down.
And I'm sure, there's been a personal foul on each side. That is not something that's common for either one of these teams. As you've watched them throughout the season, very disciplined teams, very well coached teams.
So it'll be 3rd down and real long now. They got to get all the way to the 30. It's going to be a 3rd and 23 about.
All that considered, you're curious to see if the Knights are pressing here to try to score or if they run the ball and try to use clock and get to the halftime break.
They're going to run a quick slant out here to Anderson. He's going to be upended across midfield to about the 46.
Gain of about 7, so relatively short gain considering the down and distance.
Eatonville's going to go ahead and take a timeout. We'll keep it right here. 55 seconds to go here in the half. Eatonville likely about to get the ball back. They'll have
that they can build on for the second half.
The WIA reminds you to be a good sport.
So it will be a punt for the Royal Knights.
Yeah, De La Rosa, number 7 for the Knights. Back to punt.
McElraith back to receive the punt for Eatonville. It's a good snap. That punt
Good kick.
into the corner. McElraith going to take it about the 2. Lost
goes
the football.
out of
Where'd it
bounds.
go out of bounds, though?
It went up out of bounds inside the 1, but not in the end zone. Almost fumbled through the end zone, which would have been disaster for sure.
Would have been a safety for Royal. And then they would have also gotten the ball right back. So 1st and 10 from the Eatonville 1.
Priority 1 right now for the Cruisers is to not give up a safety.
That is a new top priority. Wolf was trying to get a free 5 there.
Good
Royal
discipline by the
doesn't
Knights
bite.
front.
He'll go back under center. Turns and hands this one off and going to get a little bit of breathing room. A pickup of about 4 there. Try to see who that was on the carry. It looked like it was Olsen.
Number 22. Dylan Allred, number 5 for the Knights linebacker, makes the stop. But they're not using their timeouts now. They're just letting this thing run and try to get to the halftime break.
They're going to run, it looks like one more play. There's a handoff.
Ball's on the
Ball's
ground.
out, and Royal has it.
They're going to call their timeout, or they won't have to change the possession, but they'll have 14 seconds left and 10 yards to navigate. Disaster for the Cruisers.
Could not have gotten worse.
They'd have been better off to just take a knee and let the clock run out. The Knights would have allowed that and been happy to go to the halftime break. Now they're going to have a couple shots here to try to put another score on the board.
Everything coming up for the Royal Knights in this first half. They've got a chance, like you said, to get one or more score, a few shots at the end zone. And they do have all 3 timeouts. I don't know if they'll necessarily have time to use all 3 timeouts. Ferguson in the gun, looking to the right, going to float one into the corner, looking for Ellis. Ellis goes up and he makes a great catch. Touchdown Knights.
What a catch. That's your fullback body in a tailback position out of the backfield, catching that ball going up over the top of the defense.
Avery Ellis is receptive for the touchdown.
Touchdown number 4 for Avery Ellis.
Angel Vega.
And he's done it every way imaginable so far. On the ground, through the air, picking up fumbles.
The extra point attempt. That kick is up and good. 34-0. Royal on top here on the Eli and NFHS Sports Networks.
The Sumner Holiday Inn Express is the Eli
Now has 4 touchdowns, 2 of them on the ground, 1 of them on a scoop and score on a bad snap on a punt, and now on a phenomenal catch. It has just been the Avery Ellis show really in the first half for the Royal Knights.
Yeah, first passing touchdown for the Knights, which moves Bergeson to 40 touchdown passes on the season. Short kick, and better get on it. The Knights may have gotten on it. Did it go out of bounds? That's the question before they had possession.
It is Royal football.
Everything's coming up Knights right now in this contest. Short kick, and the Cruisers don't get on it. Didn't see who that was for the Knights, but they came down and was ruled they secured possession before going out of bounds. The Knights are going to have 6 seconds. They're going to have one shot here from the Eatonville 32-yard line.
Now they also have their timeouts left, so they can do a quick play, see if they can get a little bit closer, call a timeout, and then take a shot. We'll see how they decide to go at it. But like you said, everything coming up for the Royal Knights. They are getting...
Coach Allred wants to make sure he uses this 6 seconds properly, so he's going to use one of those timeouts right now.
We're going to go ahead and keep it right here
No
as well.
sense keeping timeouts in your pocket, right?
Do remind you that the Dairy Farmers Washington are proud partners of the WIAA State Championship tournaments. Their generosity assists each participating school and supports the maintenance of student programs like the Smart Choices Scholarships. To learn more about the Dairy Farmers of Washington's involvement in your community, visit wadairy.com. I am Matthew King, joined alongside
You know, Matt, I'm looking at that puddle over there on the 40-yard line. There's definitely rain coming down. You know, we're up here nice and dry, but that hasn't affected the Royal Knights much in this first half.
No, they look like they're the team used to playing in the rain. As there's a shot deep looking for Anderson, almost picked off, and the clock will expire. So that will do it for the first. Change for the Eatonville Cruisers if they want to finish the season with that 0 in the loss column.
You know, you asked me before what the Cruisers need to do, what they need to talk about in the locker room. They are going to have to throw the ball, right? I don't mean to say that they need to stay with the run exclusively. They need to be balanced, but they got to figure out how to get some confidence-building passes early. You know, they tried to throw a few screens. The Knights' outside linebackers have foiled that. Otherwise, they've thrown some deep passes that just haven't been fielded. I think they've got to figure out how to get some confidence-building, shorter passes for Wolf here on this drive.
And we saw that with Royal. They got Bergeson with those quick little slants to Anderson and Allred, and then started having him throw the ball downfield. Got that confidence, got the feel for the weather. I really do agree with that. That is really important. Get the mental side of things strong for your quarterback in a big game like this. Again, so good to have state championship football back in Washington State, as there's a kick to start the second half, taken at about the 6-yard line. Trying to find some space. A nice little move made there. Cutting upfield is Job Kralik.
Brought down by the Knights, number 50, Race Eilers. Special teams player, a junior.
First and 10 from the 30-yard line.
They're going to start with the ball at their own 30 are the Cruisers.
Maybe Clevenger and Luck up top.
Wolf going to take a snap. Just going to tuck it and run himself. Pick up about 4 on the first play from scrimmage here in the second half. And it'll bring up 2nd and 6. And you're seeing Eatonville immediately line up ready to rock and roll. As flags fly. And
they did not take my advice. Dylan Allred on that last tackle. Doesn't miss a lot of tackles. Wolf was able to drag him a little bit for the extra yard, but they're going to lose those penalties back now on this false start.
The yardage immediately taken away on the false start brings up 2nd and 11.
So much part of the Cruisers' DNA to go fast. That just may be what they're going to have to work out on the fly here in the second half.
Has not been smooth sailing for the Cruisers on offense, and hit and dropped immediately on that play is Hanley.
Yeah, we talked about Hanley maybe being the guy a little bit more than the running game. And number 22, Avery Ellis, who's been all over the field in all facets with the tackle for a loss.
That was a long developing play on that handoff. There were quite a few seconds there between the snap and when they actually got the ball to Hanley.
Little check with me offense here for the Cruisers. They're going to change some formations, maybe change up the play here.
See if they air it out here. Wolf going to motion a man in. That's Waylon Metler.
Ball's on the ground.
That ball, another bad snap, and finally just diving on it is Kevin Wolf, and things have not gotten better for the Eatonville Cruisers. Start this second half. They're likely to punt here on 4th and forever.
Outside linebacker Avery Ellis breathing down Wolf's neck again. This time he does the smart thing. The only choice he really had in that case, drop on that ball and not give the ball to the Knights, but they're going to be punting here on their very first drive of the second half, not the way they drew it up during the break.
And a short snap, luckily fielded on a hop. That punt going to be signaled for a fair catch, and takes a nice hop for the Cruisers.
Boy, in this wet weather, I wouldn't have come, Luke Bergeson did the right thing. I wouldn't come within a country mile of that ball. I'd take it where it lies and not take a risk of dropping that ball.
Especially already up 34-0.
No, exactly.
No point.
Exactly.
It will be 1st and 10 at the Royal 32-yard line. Here comes the offense, and 6 points here would start that running clock. So big time drive on defense for the Cruisers coming up. Bergeson will be in the gun, and that bad man Avery Ellis in the backfield with him. There's a little bit of an issue on that snap. Bergeson handles it in, and he's going to spin forward and end up picking up a first down to about the 45.
He's going to pick up 13 yards on that busted play.
And the way he and Ellis reacted, that looked like for sure that it was going to be a handoff to Ellis. Bergeson has to reel in the mishandled snap and makes good out of a bad situation there.
Well, you know, the linemen don't know what's going on behind their back. They just keep blocking, and then Derek was able to find the holes. Bergeson was able to find the holes that the line had made and pick up the yards.
1st and 10 for Royal from their own 45. There's the fake to Ellis. Bergeson going to keep it, and he is bottled up at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go.
Tough sledding right there at the line of scrimmage as the Eatonville Cruisers defensive front.
They're going to give him a yard on that one, so it's 2nd and 9.
Holds him up to, I wouldn't even say it's a full yard. About 2 ball lengths is about all he gets on that. You know, I don't know. The Knights have had a lot of good fortune throwing the ball, but with the rain coming down harder and a 34-0 lead, we'll see what the Knights go with here.
And the gun is Bergeson again. They're going tight. No one spread out. There's a handoff to Ellis. Ellis to the left side. He's going to be trapped and brought down. Maybe gets another yard. It's going to be 3rd and 8 for the Knights. Good job by this Eatonville defensive line. And it's really been when Ellis has been able to bounce it outside of the tackle where he's done most of his damage. They got to keep him contained.
You would think a guy that size would do all of his dirty work between the tackles, but he's been at least as effective or more being able to bounce it out. See if it's a running or a passing situation here for the Knights. If so, I imagine they'll run some deep guys and then try to get some crossing patterns potentially to pick up the first down.
He has trips out to his right. Also to his right is Ellis. Bad snap. That one never left the turf, and Bergeson going to try and dive on top of it. It looks like he did get it.
Yeah, he's got it, but one of the Eatonville Cruisers isn't willing to acknowledge that as they keep scrambling for the ball. They're going to pull him off. It's going to be recovered by the Knights, but that's going to bring up 4th down.
So the Eatonville defense, after giving up a first down on that first play, they tighten things up and are going to force a punt.
It may not be pretty, but the Knights will be happy to play field position here in the second half. The Cruisers can't afford to.
Well, if you look, almost 4.5 minutes already taken off the clock and still a 0 on the scoreboard for Eatonville. So Royal, as long as that 0 stays there, they are going to be happy. And whistles at a timeout.
The Cruisers have to call a timeout when Royal's punting the ball on 4th and long. That's a tough one.
That is not exactly what you want to see in them counting. There's 12 guys out there for the Cruisers, and that is likely what drew the timeout. And they've had a couple of issues lining up on punt returns all game. They've had to have some timeouts called or sprinting a guy on there at the last second, even when they are the ones punting the ball. So it's just been a little bit miscommunication on that Eatonville sideline, and they just look a little bit jittery. You can tell Royal's been the ones that have been here more recently.
It's 4th and 14. I'm not just as much as they are 4th and 14 or whatever it is. So
yeah, they're looking at that scoreboard. They don't want to risk not getting it and giving Eatonville better field position. Again, Royal, they feel like they probably don't need to score another point, but they're, of course, going to try. They're feeling pretty comfortable to punt this one away. That one's going to be high punt.
Good coverage.
Muffed
on the ground.
And I believe Eatonville ends up getting it.
That's McElwraith, I believe. Elijah Jinks for the Knights right there with him. But quick hands, McElwraith's able to recover it, secure the possession.
And that's what you were talking about on the Royal punt return.
That ball?
Didn't even get near it. Wonder if that would have been the right call for the Cruisers there. They are fortunate enough to get the ball back. It'll be 1st and 10 at their own 27.
High formation, Jake Wood at fullback.
The toss to the outside, and guess who? It is Blaine Hanley brought down right near that line of scrimmage. Might have got a yard.
For the Knights, that's number 5, Dylan Allred, quietly having himself a day on defense. Just a junior.
About a half a yard on that first play. in the gun now is Wolf. He's going to take the snap and tuck it and run to the right side. He's tripped up, brought down at about the 34. Bring up third down.
Derek Bergeson and Dylan Allred again combine on that stop.
Third down and 3. That's been the best play for Eatonville is right there. Wolf taking the direct snap. He's blown up in the backfield.
That's the defensive line for the Knights. Denton Jinks, number 70, and number 66, Manny Sandoval. Their job all day has been to occupy offensive linemen and keep the linebackers clean to make plays. In this case, they're able to come up with the big play, a tackle for a loss, and force the Cruisers into 4th and long in a punting situation. We've had half this third quarter expire.
Here's the cleanest snap of this one. That's going to take another good bounce for the Cruisers. It's going to check up at about the 26, 27-yard line. That's where Royal will take the field. And once again, you see the Royal punt returner not coming anywhere near that ball.
I'm surprised Lucas Bergeson is bothering to even go back on those punt returns because you're just not going to take that risk. Unless one were just bounce up right into his arms. Otherwise, you're going to steer clear and play it safe.
So here comes the Royal offense. And like you said, half this quarter expired. 5:55 remaining here in the third. Royal getting that football back for the second time in this half. First drive, they picked up 1 first down before being forced to punt on an issue with the snap on third down that kind of canceled out that opportunity to convert a first down. There's a toss to Ellis on the right side. Ellis going to get outside again. Runs through an Eatonville defender before being knocked out of bounds.
Acknowledge some good blocking. Number 4, Luke Bergeson for the Knights. The receiver on that side doing a good job fending off his guy and sealing the edge for Ellis to square his shoulders up and pick up 7 yards.
7 yards on that one. And interesting note, we'll see if they come out here, but Royal went under center there after a bad snap ended that first drive of this half, and they're going to go under center again. Wondering if that's going to be a theme we see for the rest of this one. Bergeson just going to run it up the middle himself.
May not have enough. It'll be close. Depends on whose foot they use for the spot. They're going to call it a first down.
Got the 3 yards he needed, and it will be a fresh set of downs for the Knights.
At this point, 3 yards and a cloud of black pellets is just fine for the Royal Knights offense.
They're going to take their time.
We've got to give credit to these ball boys on both times, these towel boys. They've been working their tails off, running back and forth and trying to keep things dry as much as possible for these teams.
It's not all glitz and glamour for the ball boys down there. There's the handoff to Ellis up the middle. Ellis finally contacted about 8 yards downfield, plows his way forward, and he's going to have a first down, 12-yard pickup there. And Avery Ellis, you're going to remember that name after this one.
Yeah, number 5, Justice Roust, with the stop from the safety position. We talked about if your safety is playing in normal safety position, but he's making a lot of tackles on the run game, that's not great. And Avery Ellis able to get through the first and second layers of that Eatonville defense before he's brought down.
And we talked about him being a physical safety. You want to see your safety making that many tackles on a running back.
Right.
First and 10 from their own 48 now. There's a toss to Ellis on the left side, getting a good block out on the edge, but he's going to be tripped up. Nice tackle made out there by Blaine Hanley.
Yeah, Hanley by far their leading tackler on the season, and coming up big there in the open field. He's got 125 tackles coming into the game. Next closest guy has half as many.
Flying all over the field out there. A little bit like Bobby Wagner, you'd say. He is making some big plays, and not the biggest guy out there either. He is all heart, all tenacity.
Well, and all weight room.
Second down and 8. There's a handoff to Ellis left side, going to lower his shoulder, and again, guess who's right there on the stop after a pickup of 4.
Yeah, Hanley again, assisted by Caden Olson, number 22. Going to bring up third down and 4 for Royal.
Third down, 4 yards to go.
And Royal really letting this play clock bleed, taking the time, sending Bergeson over to the sideline every single play. He's taking his time to get back out there, and that is what you're going to see from Royal. They're just looking to get this clock, keep it moving.
Yeah.
Third down. Eatonville got to get a stop here. Again, Bergeson under center. Going to toss this one again to Ellis on the right side. Ellis looking for some space, gets around one defender.
Extends that ball, hoping that he can get a good spot. We'll see what they give him.
It looks like it's going to be real close.
A little risky with the wet weather to be extending that ball like that, but he's trying to get the first down.
It will be a first down. 4-yard pickup there for Ellis.
First and 10.
And it keeps the Knights offense on the field. And likely in that situation, they're going to go for it anyway. You're not going to get much better field position there.
Fourth and one right there, you're nearly in no man's land anyways, and using clock would be the thing that the Knights are going to prioritize right here. As much as that's not as fantastical as scoring 34 points and a half, it's all about coming out ahead at the final whistle.
We'll see if Bergeson decides a QB keeper here. Or excuse me, no, it is a fresh set of downs. We haven't seen really Bergeson do much of anything here in the half besides turn and give the ball to Ellis.
Yeah, other than the bobbled snap that he kept for himself.
There he is again, Ellis on the right side, stepping out of a tackle, still on his feet, finally dragged down at about the 30, another 12-yard pickup for Avery Ellis.
12 yards at a pop, and it feels like he's getting stronger as the game goes on.
And once again, it was Rolse in there making a tackle from safety.
A lot of talk about this game coming in, about the impact on Royal of having to use a lot of two-way players. And we are late in the third quarter, and it hasn't been a problem.
No, they look like they are fresh out there. And a quick shout-out to both these fan bases making the trip. You can see it across the Eatonville Cruises. It's standing room only over there.
Same on this side.
Royal, they always travel well to these state playoff matchups. Bergeson going to keep it himself. Took a drop step, gets around the edge. He's going to be tripped up. Lost the football. Did it go out of bounds? Eatonville's got it, but no, they're going to say that ball was out of bounds. So it's going to be
a 13-yard gain and move the ball into the red zone for the Knights.
First down and 10 at the 17-yard line for Royal.
And they're saying they didn't get out of bounds. They're going to keep that clock rolling.
Well, they're saying the ball went out of bounds, which keeps the clock moving. The player never went out of bounds. First and 10 for the Knights. And again, you're seeing Bergeson go under center, just trying to minimize the risk there as Ellis hit immediately and dropped in the backfield.
Number 20, Acareno, comes up big there for the rare tackle for loss on Avery Ellis.
That might be the only negative run for Ellis all game long. I have a feeling there haven't been many all season for Avery Ellis.
Coming into the game averaging just shy of 10 yards per carry, and he may have surpassed that average so far in this game.
That might get a little bit of a bump at the end of this one. I think you're right. It's going to be 2nd and 13 from the 20. 36 seconds to go here in the third quarter. There's a turn and hand to Ellis. Ellis running through an Eatonville defender. Really just tripped over him down to the 14, a pickup of 6.
With this clock running, 17 seconds, my guess is that was the last play of the quarter.
And the Knights headed to the sideline, which makes that very likely. 12 minutes remain in this 1A state championship match. Headed into the fourth quarter.
This is an interesting. These games being played right now are all east side versus west side matchups. Royal with a pretty commanding lead in this one. Elmira Cooley Heartline with a commanding lead in theirs. And Kennewick in a tough battle with Bellevue. And it's still anybody's ball game
there, yeah. Of course, 3 more state championship trophies will be handed out later today to go alongside with these 3. As there's Ellis around the right side. He's looking for touchdown number 5. Did he get it? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Royal. It looks like we have an injured Knight on the field on that one. Try to see if we can get a number. It's out there on that right side.
Trying to count who's already out there and who is up and moving to deduce who that may be.
Touchdown.
It was a touchdown for the Royal Knights.
Yeah, Avery Ellis avoids the first guy and gets to that sideline. And once he squares his shoulders, he is a tough load, gets into the end zone. Just 7 seconds into this fourth quarter. Injury on the field, but going to bring up a running clock scenario to finish out this fourth quarter. Makes the climb even steeper for the Cruisers. Get a first chance here to see what number this is coming off the field.
The injured Knight.
Is it 66 or 56?
I see 56 standing up, so I believe that is 60.
Manny Sandoval, number 66, I believe. Starting left tackle.
Which means he was pulling coming over to the right side on that run.
Yeah, also a starting tackle on the defensive end. So going to have to make some decisions here on how they fill his void as he comes off the game. Try to figure out what the issue is, if whether it's a lower leg issue, but he seems to be walking under his own power.
The senior.
Working his tail off, exhausted out there, putting everything on the line as a senior for his Royal Knights teammates. He looks to be better off than you might think. He's going to get checked out, but he's under his own power for sure.
He's got to be feeling pretty good as that kick is up and good. Feeling good about the 41-0 lead his Royal Knights have. Just 11:53 remaining. The Knights closing in on a state championship here in Lakewood.
Good Health Nutrition Center in Centralia.
5 out of the last 6 contested state championships.
Just an absolute force at the 1A level, and they do it against every level. Like you said, they were beating some 4A teams in the spring. This team is extremely talented. They are extremely proud in Royal City of this football team. That kick, little miscommunications, is taken at about the 14-yard line. Up the left side, there's some space. Are the Cruisers going to find their way into the end zone? Trying to get a breakaway, forced out of bounds. It looks like Riley McElraith.
Yeah, number 47, Angel Vega, eventually catches up and drives him out of bounds. Now listen, Angel Vega is the kicker, but also one of the top 5 fastest kids on the team. A very good soccer player, brought in to be the kicker, but not afraid to get involved. And he uses his speed to be able to catch up to McElraith and bring him down. But clearly best field position of the day for the Cruisers.
You don't get to hit players in soccer. I can speak from experience, so you want to take advantage when you're out there on the football field.
In soccer, you're supposed to pretend like you got hit and flop around on the ground.
There's a shot at all you soccer players. Again, that was him. That wasn't me.
I'll take it all. I got broad shoulders.
1st and 10 for the Cruisers. Going to put a man in motion. Wolf going to hand this one off, and it's going to be a pass. That one thrown up, and it's going to be picked off easily by Luke Bergeson. He's going to return this one back the other way and just run out of bounds, and the great field position is immediately erased.
Luke Bergeson not fooled at all on the end-around pass play as he was in great field position. In fact, it looked like the ball was intended for him, and he brings down that interception. And you're going to see the Knights offense go back into clock burn mode here as they try to finish out this contest.
The clock will not stop unless there's a score or injury or a timeout. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the Royal 25-yard line with just over 10 minutes to play. It'll be 10 minutes by the time this one snaps as they are going to run down that play clock.
The play clock. In fact, there's still 32 seconds left on the play clock, and the Knights aren't going to do anything earlier than they have to.
It's going to be a tough way for this season to end for the Eatonville Cruisers. They were a dominant team all season long, just a real rough day for them all around. A rough day on offense and defense, just couldn't get things right against Royal. There's a toss to guess who, Avery Ellis. Going to just be almost driven out of bounds. A massive stiff arm from Avery Ellis. That was like a Derrick Henry stiff arm out there. Just threw him into the feet of the players on the Royal sideline.
Hanley comes up off the bottom of the pile for the Cruisers, but it takes a host of Cruisers to bring Ellis down.
Couple of yards on that one, and there's a flag down. It's going to be a sideline warning, this time on Royal. So each team has had that sideline warning, so again, this one means nothing. Just the warning.
Yeah. Yeah, the play to the Royal sideline. So a little excitement as they got to be close observers of that stiff arm by Ellis.
What a stiff arm that was. It's going to bring up 2nd and 8. And again, you're going to see the Knights take their time, let that play clock run all the way down.
Yeah, still 22 seconds on that play clock.
And again, they want that shutout. That is why they're not trying to force anything. They're starting to kill the clock now. A shutout is extremely important to the defenses and defensive coordinator. They're going to snap it with about 8 seconds on the play clock. Ellis trying to get to the outside, and again, he's going to be driven backwards at about the original line of scrimmage, makes it 3rd and 10.
Leading the charge, Zach Barnett for the Cruisers on that stop.
Zach Barnett with the tackle.
Loss of 2 yards.
Down, 10 yards to go.
Brings back 3rd down and 10. Clock keeps running.
It has been all ground and pound in the second half for the Knights. They haven't thrown the ball yet. Just feeding Avery Ellis, who might be starting to get a little bit winded. He is human, and with this many carries in the second half, it's going to take its toll on you a little bit. Ferguson going to hand it off to Ellis again, left side. Ellis has some space. He's got the first down and more. Going to be dragged down near midfield.
31, Brandon Storm brings him down. Storm, one of the tackles for the Cruisers. I haven't gotten a chance to call his name yet or talk about him much. He's a guy that Coach Kralik talked a lot about when I had a chance to talk to him this week. A guy who was injured during the spring season, didn't get a chance to play, but stayed connected to his team and was made a captain for this season. Comes up with a stop there, but a first down for the Knights, and the clock keeps rolling. Avery Ellis, another big run.
26 yards on that carry for Ellis, who is finally going to step on the sideline and get a breather. First down and 10 into Eatonville territory. Again, this is more about clock management than it is trying to score again.
31, Caleb Hernandez is going to replace Avery Ellis. Hernandez, a junior.
He's going to get the carry here up the middle. He's going to run into the defensive tackle and is driven back. Looks like he might have gotten a yard there.
Hernandez, clearly not the same body type as Ellis, but a shifty runner in his own right, getting a chance here in the state championship game to tuck the ball and get a few carries.
That's something he'll take with him forever, getting a carry in a state championship. Of course, he'll likely be the guy next year.
That's the expectation. You know, these Royal Knights, with the tradition that they have, you know, they know that their time will come. And when they get a chance to step in and carry the ball, that's a great thing. But they also know that next year some of these guys that are juniors and sophomores will be called upon for some major roles.
And a lot of seniors will be leaving this Eatonville program as there's a fake toss. Bergeson on the left side all alone.
What a block.
Got one man to beat, finally dragged down. And that was a great play call there.
Great play call, and Edgar De La Rosa, number 7, with an outstanding block on Brune out on that end. A little creativity in the play calling there, just when you thought the Knights were going to run everything between the tackles. and be completely vanilla. Bergeson with the keeper with a big gain.
And that was a good block all the way downfield by a receiver. That is something that'll make a head coach smile very wide there. 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line now for the Knights. 4:30 left on the clock. Bergeson again puts the hands on the hips. Going to just wait for this play clock to get down to about 10. Now he'll go under center. Fake the toss, a little hand back here. Not much space there.
24, Eric Myrick. He's brought down by Chase Grant.
Eric Myrick on the reverse.
Gets a couple there.
8 yards to go.
2nd and 8 now for the Knights.
Yeah, these Towel boys, they're getting more screen time than they've gotten all season, that's for sure.
If you're going to use that entire play clock, might as well also have a fairly dry ball. I guess
Right.
It's probably getting pelted as the rain really coming down.
Yeah. Intensity is not slowed down. It slowed down a little bit in the second quarter. Then it really picked up again at halftime, and it's been pretty steady rain the entire second half. Ellis back in the game. Sidesteps the initial tackle, and it's going to take a couple of them to bring him down. Number 70, Julian Evans, comes in on defense and helps with that stop. Like 20, Acareno as well. And it's going to be a first down for the Knights in the red zone, down to about the 13-yard line.
Make sure you stay tuned for our post-game show coming up, the Alderson's Awards West post-game show, where we'll recap this one. Also give our players of the games for both sides. That's all coming up in about 2:48. So the Royal Knights look like they're on their way to another state championship.
Well, it would be a miracle for it to be otherwise at this point.
Tell you what, if Eatonville comes back and wins this one, I feel like a movie would be on its way. There's a handoff to
doubt.
Ellis. Breaking through a couple tackles. He's going to be upended inside the 10. A flag, though.
Be a holding penalty against the Knights.
And this is our first hold of the ball game.
It's been a clean game.
It has been
It's
a very
clean game. Yeah, I haven't seen much of that at all. Obviously, the Knights would like to be able to maybe punch one in here, but that's going to back them up, make things a little more challenging. I don't think it'll change the play calling scheme at all for the Knights. They don't need to score again.
Repeat first down.
Well, that's the loudest and the clearest mic I've heard on a white hat in a high school game. It's going to repeat first down, so it's going to be first down and 20 yards for the Knights. They've got to get inside the 3 for a first down.
And I doubt they try and even run a play. I think it'll just be some knees here. Because by the time they have to snap this one, it'll be right around a minute left. They're lining up in a formation, though. Maybe give Ellis one more carry.
Let this play clock get to 10 seconds.
They won't give it to Ellis.
See if that's 31 Hernandez on an inside handoff lined up at the fullback spot.
Hernandez gets to about the 20. They'll have to run one more snap.
17 yards to go.
And then this one will come to a close. As the Royal Faithful making some noise.
This one not nearly as dramatic as it was to close out the championship game 2 years ago on this field for the Royal Knights.
And do want to give a little shout out. The defensive line of Eatonville shaking hands with Royal players as well as the official.
Great sportsmanship.
Great. We've seen good sports. A couple of
Yeah.
personal fouls, but it's football.
That was the heat
It's
of the
going to get a
moment.
little heated, yeah. There's a kneel, and that'll do it. The Royal Knights are once again state champions.
Winners out of 5 of the last 6. That's 10 state titles for the Royal Knights, 9 under the direction of head coach Wiley Allred.
The clock hits 0, and it's official, and the Knights